Welcome, everybody, to Confessions of a Group Exercise podcast with Heather Gardner, part 2.
Hey, everyone.
This one is going to have a much different, lighter tone than last week's episode. Today, we're going to talk about her journey to the top as an IFB pro. Before we get there, she is a group fitness instructor. She teaches Warrior. She lives in Spokane, Washington, which is very near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And we've been friends now for quite a long time. And if you missed last week's episode, go back and listen to that, where she talks about mourning and grieving the loss of her husband and how she has navigated being a widow, which might come into today's episode. So I just wanted to kind of lay the landscape there. But she teaches she's taught some celebrities, people. Okay, just tell us about Gaza really quickly. Gazer.
Yes, Gazer. It is a summer camp for the rich and famous. And I was lucky enough to be a GroupX instructor there. It's a seasonal position, so come out and teach multiple classes. You get to teach private classes. And one of my regulars throughout my season up there was Justin Bieber. His wife Haley came once. She did not participate in the class, but I did get to meet her and all of that. Reese Witherspoon and she's a Kennedy. Oh my gosh, Maria Shriver. And I am so sorry. I did not know who she was at first. I knew her. Somebody was like, one of the personal trainers was like, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's ex-wife. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't realize she was a Kennedy. And now it makes sense why she kept asking me so many direct questions. And I felt like I was being interviewed because she's
a professional interviewer.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And yeah, I was like, can you sign in for class? I had Maria Shriver sign in.
Can you sign in? Who are you?
I know. I'm sorry.
Hysterical. And then were you nervous? Were you extra nervous, or were you just yourself?
No, honestly, I was just like myself. I was like, I don't know. I just turn it on and it works. It's kind of like performance.
Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber, wasn't Justin Bieber testing songs for you or something?
Oh, yeah. So he was up there a lot. And even if he'd come in and do his own thing in the back during our class, yes, he would also change the music mid-song. And now if you're a Warrior instructor for rhythm,
Ellen's gonna get mad. Don't you know the rules?
No. I can ask her if I can throw it in for string. There's no music is going in for rhythm. It doesn't work. Trust me.
You've had to sign some NDAs about things, and I feel like the Kardashians might go there.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I can say that, although they have not came to my class personally, that class, everybody was sure looking at them as they were playing. I thought people were looking for form while we were in strength. I'm like, oh, let me come help. And they're like, no, we're looking at Kim while they're doing RDLs. So when she did the blonde last year, very quickly, the quick brown to blonde change. So yes, she's a very tiny human. I feel like I expected her to be so much taller in real life.
Oh, she's tiny?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh. That's funny how sometimes you don't know that about people. Like people, when they meet me, they always think I'm little and tiny, but they must think,
yes,
they must think somehow through the internet that I'm tall.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Not at all. It's the heels.
It is the heels. Yeah. Big personality. I don't know. Okay, so just to kind of back up a little, in case those listening missed last week's episode, we did take really a deep dive into Heather's really painful journey as a young woman who lost her husband abruptly. But then we wanted this episode to be kind of more like what has become of her life since, and how she's resurrected herself, changed a lot. So can you talk to us about being overweight at one point in your life? How did you get overweight? Were you overweight child? Were you a skinny kid? What is the journey with weight and food and all this stuff? Because I come from eating disordered and weird. I could not do what you do. I could not do it because I think I would go down.
It definitely,
mess with my eating disordered brain, but I feel like people are different. Everyone's different. So, tell us about your journey. Go.
So started out as an overweight child. Actually, I had a lot of like childhood trauma, a lot of stuff in the home, an alcoholic father, a lot of like in-home abuse. And I think I turned to food as like comfort. And also I was like kind of fending for myself. So when you're a kid and you can eat what you want, you eat, the junk food, things like that. So it wasn't until I was like in high school that I kind of Billy Blanks, Tybo. I
I
think
love him.
I met him at one of the conferences and I was like, should I tell him that I lost like a bunch of weight to him in my basement? Like
You met
as
him
a, yes, we met him. He was there. Remember he was at the, yes,
at Idea.
yes, that one. There was, yes, one of them. Yeah, that was, yes.
Yeah. It was
I
an
think,
idea.
yeah,
It was an idea. Okay.
there's
And
so
yes,
many
he's
before we got,
so cool.
and so I started with the kickboxing videos and I'd lost weight to where I felt comfortable and maintained that. Then pregnancy is not kind to me. So with my pregnancies, I'd gained weight, was able to lose it. But then again, with Lily, I blew up to 6 weeks postpartum. I was 243 pounds.
No way.
Yeah. So I just ate it was food. So I realize now, like later going on through that, like food was just kind of like a crutch for me, I think. So it was really learning other ways. And this is where you slowly enter into my life. It was Beachbody that I, came into to lose weight, and it was drinking a shake, getting nutrition and working out, right? It's just working out and eating right. And so I lost 113 pounds in a year, fell in love with the programs and got certified with PIO because I was like, I love fitness.
Yes.
And I was a coach, but I wanted to help people more. It was not enough beach body coaching.
Yeah, yeah.
It was not what I wanted to do. I wanted hands-on helping someone. GroupX, I was taking random classes. I think it was like hip hop hits and something else. And I loved the group of people that would come, and I loved the energy. So I knew that's what I wanted to do. So getting certified led to that. And then Long Line Warrior. So obviously the best format ever. And kind of flows with that. So I just kind of maintained my fitness just from always being a GroupX instructor. But it was Dallas. When I saw my legs, someone recorded my legs when we were doing those down dog.
Oh my gosh. And they looked amazing.
Yeah, and
I remember the video. It was like one of those diving down dog push-ups.
yeah,
And your legs looked like $5 million.
and I was like, huh, if we can do this with like, let's see what we can do with like some lift. I mean, I have always been one that found it fascinating, but I was like, I can never do that for some reason.
Time out. Okay. So you had already been interested. You just
When
didn't
used to do, yes, they used to do like, I think when I first saw it, it was like the Beachbody held one. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at these people's transformations. I want to do that. And it was like their bodybuilding competition. And the more I started seeing things, I was like, this looks so fun, but I could never. And I would tell myself in my brain, you can never, like, you're not going to do that. Like,
imposter syndrome about it.
yeah. And I suffer with that a lot, and it creeps up all the time. It's really hard.
Oh my gosh. So you saw your legs in Dallas. Yeah, that video. Oh my gosh. I should like resurrect that video.
Yes.
Link it to the show notes.
Yes. Yes.
It just looked insane.
And I was like, okay, like I can do this. And I bought a posing suit then and there, and I contacted a coach.
Like you got a mint colored one to match the Warrior logo at one point.
Yes, I did. Yes, I have an array of colors now, and I'm gonna have to have a new one for my pro debut, which I think we're gonna go back to, do another mint color. But yes, I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. So I was like, all in, and we were still touring at the time. So we shared some rooms where I took the entire fridge with all of my prep food.
Yes, you were like making egg white. You were like sticking to your. Wait, hold on. We skipped a whole portion. Before you get into that, hold on. So you see your legs. You're like, maybe I can do this. Then what? Then were you like, okay, wait, I have two questions. One, what was step one? Finding a coach?
Yes. And so I had kind of messaged some people that I knew that already did bodybuilding just from like networking and stuff. And I was like, who's your coach? Who's your coach? Like really newbie, right? So I kind of just went with one, signed up, And I just committed. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I committed to a show that I thought I was going to do. It changed a couple times, but I was like, I'm going to do this. And so just ran with it. But then I was like, I just started the training. So it was bodybuilding is just a lot of the same things over and over again every day in and day out. So we just started building from that point.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you so badly, but like I am pretty ignorant about this. And by the way, the reason we're doing this episode is because I honestly think there is a decent amount of group fitness instructors and personal trainers, fitness professionals like Heather that like are interested in the life or that might want to consider doing it. And so we're here today for you. And if you're not interested, stay tuned anyway, just because it's interesting. Because like, I think it's interesting. So one of the things that I want you to explain is the differences. Because before you started training and getting taking this like I know there's the different styles, and you picked a specific style. So what are the types?
Okay, so as I was like bodybuilding, as a female bodybuilder, you have 4 categories, right? You have 4: bikini, wellness, figure, physique, bodybuilding.
That's 5.
So that's 5. That's why I had to count them all out. So that's 5. There's 5. There's 5 as a female bodybuilder that you can do. So bikini is X frame.
Okay.
Kind of hourglass. So you have shoulder caps. So you want full muscle, but not like striated. You want to have bubbly muscle, but you don't see like, oh wow, they're like, overly muscular. Glutes. But the most importantly, it's like you can define them as so it's like an X. So really hourglass, tiny waist. And that's kind of like an entry level where a lot of people can diet down and be into that because it's not as much muscle structure building. But you also do have to have, I kind of X myself out of that because I don't have the X frame. So my body type, I have broader shoulders. So I initially thought I was going to go into figure. So figure is a more dominant upper half. So think about a triangle with a point down. So more broader shoulders, less developed lower body, but the conditioning is a lot more.
The conditioning.
So you're going to get leaner. So you have to have less body fat in figure than you would with bikini. And in between these 2 divisions, you have wellness. Now, wellness, which is what I am, wellness pro, is a lower body dominant. So I would be the triangle. My lower half is more dominant.
Okay, upside down triangle.
Yes. So I'm going to have a more developed lower body. So my glutes, my hamstrings, my quads, my calves, all more developed than and overpowering my upper body. So I have actually stopped training upper body. I have not trained my upper body since.
Your upper body is naturally ripped, I feel like.
Yes. And so like I haven't trained besides just doing, and I do like little weights in class because I got yeah, so I can't, just to try to bring my upper body down because I did switch coaches at one point in time and it was the best thing ever. But yeah, my upper body is too.
I feel like you maybe fired your first coach or something.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you helped me with that. I was like, you're like.
I know. That's because I can be like a big boss. Like I say I have like hairy balls. I'm like, fire her.
Yes, I did.
I remember why, because we were traveling. I can't remember. Were we in
workout? Like I only had
Chicago. Who knows where we were? And you were like, you had so anyway. She's on the conference circuit with me. Like we're on stage. We're doing this. She doesn't have like all day to figure things out. She would have a very narrow window of time to get her workout in, and she also needed to know how to do like the meals and stuff like that. You were like you were like cooking egg whites at like 1:00 in the morning on the little stove in the hotel room. But anyway. You did take over the whole fridge. I don't even know how, but you took over the whole fridge. But yes, she wasn't responding to you, and you're like, I have to go work out. I'm trying to get this done, and I have to go, and she wasn't responding, and I was
and she cost 3 times more than any coach I've ever had.
Well, you obviously made the right decision.
Yes, but I'm like, so the most expensive coach is not necessarily the right coach, and I have. When we get to like, I'm going to do a little section on what to look for if you want to, in a coach, because I have the points now that I wish I would have known ahead of time.
Yes. Okay. I'll be quiet now. I think.
Okay. So
the different types.
Okay. The different types. So then wellness. So uh, lower body is more dominant. Still have to have the smaller waist, but basically legs. I do legs 5 times a week, all legs. And then, so we got bikini, wellness, figure, then physique is the next one up. And that is where you get into a more bodybuilder look. That is just everything is shredded, symmetrical, upper body, lower body.
Wait, so when you say the next one up, sorry for the questions from a newbie.
Like I would say
They're
if you're
not,
looking at
one's
scale,
not better than the other, right? You don't mean the next one up like it's better.
muscular, like so the least amount of muscle and conditioning would be bikini.
Got it.
Then wellness is more conditioned, more muscle, but still like, feminine. And then figures like still feminine, but you're more lean and your upper body is more developed, where wellness, your lower body. Then you get into physique where you no longer wear heels on stage. Not that it's not feminine, but you no longer wear heels on stage. It's more posing like you'd see men's bodybuilding. So physique.
Are they barefoot? I don't even know.
They're barefoot. Yeah. They're barefoot. So you just go, because they have to do routines. They do like posing routines, which we all do routines, but we have mandatory poses where physique and bodybuilding can make up their own music.
Oh.
And they do have mandatory poses, but it's more like a dance type thing where they can go and pose and dropping that over. They can pose and show more of the personality.
Okay, so that's the differences. And I have a question. Does someone pick based on what they want and then they can train into it? Or are they like, I'm genetically more predisposed to be successful in this category, so I would be wise to pick this one? Or does the coach tell you what you should do?
So you can, your coach will tell you, like if you have a brand new coach and you're new, they should do like a physique assessment and they'll be able to tell. But you can sometimes build into it, because I built my legs. I didn't have these legs before. Like I had little legs, but my glutes, I didn't have. I'm from like the 2000 era where cardio took my ass. Like I have no rear end. I had no glutes. I just had cardioed it off. Build. I have a picture. You're gonna die. Do you remember when we would do our transformation photos and we're like,
Yes.
okay, so I had my 60-day body beast, like so whatever hybrid, and from the side I'm like this. There's no butt.
Oh my gosh.
So like I had to build. So it's possible. I built into it. And sometimes you can be on the cusp of bikini or wellness. And it's kind of like, okay, you could do either one. What do you want to do? Do you want to build some massive legs? Do you like doing legs? Do you want to do legs? Or do you want to just kind of tone up and do some cardio? It's also like training wise, what do you want to do? Like how hard do you want to train?
And did you want to do wellness?
I wanted to do wellness, but I hated doing legs, which is so funny because now I love it. I loved my shoulder day and I loved upper body. And when I got on with this coach, it was legs 5 days a week. I remember I was just scared, like through every workout, like, I don't know what it is today. And I've grown to like love it. There's just something about pushing weight, that much weight with your legs. It's healing. And I don't know. It's just like, look, I can do that. I don't know. It's just something about it.
Plus, it's like has to be so satisfying for you because you were able to build something that you thought you didn't have, like
Yes.
a area of weakness, because you were so
Upper
strong
body.
on your upper body. I mean, obviously you were on your lower body too, hence the video that inspired you to do this. But yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so then what? Okay, so you pick a category.
Then, yes, pick a coach, started training. We did a little hiccup. I changed coaches. I've actually changed coaches twice. I went with one that was like an online, trained for a while, did my first show, swept all the classes, won first and everything. And then was like, okay, I want more. Let's see what we can do with this. Right. I wasn't done. I kind of just graduated from where I wanted to be and just went with another coach, someone who was local that could keep eyes on me. And it kind of catapulted. We started training like, professional athlete. We're just going all the way. I went even harder in and we did a run for my pro card. So in June, I went to Boise and competed. It wasn't even a show that was on my radar. My coach, I went for a check-in. I wasn't supposed to be at a show for like another month. Like I had just gotten back from Florida with my kids. Meanwhile, I'm prepping this whole time. while we're traveling with all their shows, I'm, prepping and doing everything. So I was just in Florida for 2 weeks for them because
Hold on, you have to remember that not every
oh,
like, I'm the perfect person because I know so little. So when you say prepping, do you mean meal
oh,
prep?
okay, no, prepping. Okay, so in bodybuilding, there's two different phases:
Oh, okay.
off season, and prep.
Okay.
So off season is you're building and you're reversing to a calorie level that you can grow.
I
Prep
see.
is where you start dieting and calories go down and the cardio goes up. So you prep into a show. So I had like a 20-week prep that I was supposed to do. So we had been prepping. Now I had gotten, a little bit larger in my off season. I enjoyed lots of things. So I was like prepping. I didn't think I was ready. Coach said I was ready. So we just kind of jumped into a show. So usually you like know your show date, like my target date, I was still 4 weeks out. So
Right.
my ultimate target date was nationals. So we knew I wanted to do a national show. I had to get requalified again. So I was going to go to regional shows to get qualified for nationals.
Hold on. That's the stuff that they need to know. So you have to get qualified. You
For
can't.
national.
Okay. So there's
You
a process.
go, yes, you can go to a regional show, any NPC. So an amateur is NPC, the National Physique Committee. Yes. And then when you're a pro, it's IFBB.
IFBB. Okay.
Yes. So then that kind of determines what shows you do. So you have to win first within the last calendar year,
Uh,
first or second in your class in the last calendar year to be qualified for a national show.
okay.
And that calendar year. So like it's not like 1 year from the date of, it's like that calendar year. So within so once you do that, then you just, when you register for the national show, you'll put that on there. So we just did a warm-up show, I guess. I kind of jumped into one and I took overall and won the whole thing, and it was like the best thing ever. So I was like, okay, I love this even more. And can I tell you just a little side note, shooting videos with you has trained me for it, because I'm in Disneyland, even when I'm like shaking, smiling, or like shaking on stage, I can hold a smile and everything else. Because
Yes, because so basically because she's been in our videos and I'm like, it's Disneyland performance, like smile till your cheeks want to fall off and like hide your nerves and all this
yeah,
stuff.
like, and it's because you're doing it to no one. So it's like,
Yes.
if you can do that to no one, you can be on stage in a bikini.
Right. But like wasn't it hard for you? Because I feel like you told me this, like learning to pose in heels and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah. That was probably, and you wouldn't think, if you see me teach rhythm, you'd be like, oh no, she's fine.
that. I know.
Then
We
you try to
share this
dance.
in common. People
Yes.
think we're like musical goddesses that can dance and that we're like,
Yeah.
everyone thinks I'm like the best dancer in the world. I'm like, I don't.
I still use that. I do the hokey.
I know, me too. I joke about it all the time too. But yes, I know. It is funny that yes, you can yes. Anyway, carry on. So
You have to, yeah, posing. And so
learn how to pose.
yes, I do have a posing coach. My posing coach is actually going to Olympia, which is like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. I guess that would be the equivalent of. So I have a posing coach. So you also incorporate posing into it. So I would pose every day to get ready as well. So you have in
Pose
wellness.
every day in your like home, like in your mirror, in your bathroom. You like
Yeah,
work.
I would even do, yes, every day I would do. And as it got closer to show, the gym that I work out at has like a posing room. I would strip down to my thong and my sports bra and do it and send my video to my coach every day. Yeah. And I would do it after a workout. So I'd be
I've seen people do that over the years in the gym. Like I've seen people do that in literally the GroupX rooms before in studios.
yeah.
So does okay. Does everyone who competes want to get their pro card? Is that
No,
goal?
no, there's a lot of people and I've met them. And I also spray tan at the bodybuilding show. So that's a little side gig. And I do it at the bodybuilding show. So it's kind of fun that. Glow job, if you ever need a glow job, GLOW. um that so a lot of them, there's actually a lady who she's in her 50s and she's amazing, and she just competes locally and she wins all the local shows in her division, and she just has no desire to do anything else but local shows. And they have a thing up here called Triple Crown, where it's like just rewards people for competing within the regional circuit. So you don't have to
But
and
you did. Like so another thing I like admire about you And even though this world is like so foreign to me, like I already told you, I have eating disorder background, so this isn't, it's not a safe thing for me. Um,
No, not laying
no,
out
it's not safe for me. But and so yeah, like actually like I should say that to the audience, like if you have struggled with eating disorders, it's probably not like the best thing to get involved in because it takes a level of obsession. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There's a lot of things I do in my life that are obsessive, like getting a bodysuit tattoo, and my whole entire business is an obsession. But certain things, you know. Anyway, I was gonna say something I admire about you that I don't think you necessarily said to me, but I recognized it anyway, is I knew that you were going to win. Like you had a goal, you wanted to get your pro card, you said you wanted to get your pro card, and like there wasn't any stopping you. And I just related to that. I related to that kind of mentality and work ethic because it's how I function when I want something. There is a just ferocious um work ethic that will surround, and a mindset of like I will have it, I will get it, I will win. And I think you have to succeed. So anyway, I recognize that in you. And again, to spin back to what we talked about last week, I'm sure that having something to focus on, going through the grief and loss of your husband, I'm sure like there's so many worse things you could have been doing with your life
yeah.
than having a goal and a drive and a focus and a discipline and a regimented thing. And I think you were actually starting to say that when I backed you up and started to ask you about the different divisions. You were starting to say something about how you it being regimented, or what were you going to go say about that?
Well, the just yes, the routine, the regimentation of it was one of the things like bodybuilding. Group X like saved me. Like, I mean, I was going down a dark path, decided to like do everything that was, we kind of talked on the other episode about that, right? Warrior opened up all these doors. So as I was opening them and finding my new place and what I really loved, bodybuilding was something that like I something that I could control, something that I was good at, something that I could do that was solely based on me, right? Checking my boxes every day. I talk about that with bodybuilding. Like it's just box checking, right? Did you drink your water? Did you hit your macros? Did you get your lift in? Did you get your cardio? Did you rest enough? Did you do your foam rolling? Like it's literally the most basic things, but there it is. Did you do those? And it is taking care of your body, even though it can be, so those who have eating disorder past things like that, it can go very wrong, and you know it can just breed a lot of that. But for me it was very I was learning to take care of my body in a different way again, and it felt really good, and I was thriving mentally and my body was changing, and I just really loved it. Now what's hard is the reverse part, which a lot of people don't talk about. So after you step off stage, or do your shows, then you have to reverse out of a diet. And I think that's harder. I've done this now. This is my twice one. It's almost, I've done this twice. It's harder, I feel like, than getting on stage because losing weight's hard. But when you start reversing and you're gaining weight to gain muscle and you no longer have all the shreds, that for me is so much harder.
Interesting. Interesting. That
And
is
then,
so interesting.
yeah,
Just mentally and psychologically. Even
yes. Like, why am I working this hard to gain weight? You know, it's just like mentally because you're so like, it makes sense why I'm struggling. But now it's like, no, I'm hungry. I want to eat that. I don't have a show yet, but I have to stick to my macros. But
yeah.
I, you know, it's just weird. But it's like you're suffering, but you're still, your shreds are going away, which, you know, it's not what it is. You're gaining muscle and all these things. Your hormones are regulating. Like you have to have the off season to have the on season. So as bodybuilders, everybody sees us on stage, but it is just such a short period of time that we look like that. Um, we peek into it. So it's like I did 3 different shows this season. Boise, and then a couple weeks later I did the Tangi Classic, and then I went into nationals. And so you get feedback from the judges each time.
You
My
do?
the judges. So
They
you,
give feedback?
yep,
Like give
yep.
you
Oh
like
yeah.
even when
You
you like
line up.
win, even when you win, do they have
Oh
feedback?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
bodybuilding is never like you. No one's ever perfect, so they tell you. So my first show, you go and you meet all the judges, and they tell you what you can improve on. They're like, come in leaner, XYZ. Which again, my first show this season, I just kind of jumped in. Let's see, I signed up on a Tuesday. Show was on Saturday, so I didn't really like peek into it. As I did the other shows, so like come in leaner, which I still won overall, so that was good. I came in leaner the next show, and they're like, don't lose your fullness. So I wasn't as full as I could have been, the muscle wise. So when I say full, how bodybuilding works is normally in a peak, you're going to deplete all your carb. So you're going to look flat. You're going to look flat, flat, flat. Your muscles are going to look flat. You've probably not had carbs or a lot of carbs for you. It depends. Each person's different. The lowest my carbs ever got was like 100 for like a week. Before that was like 170. So I never got super low. I know some people really do. But that's just for very briefly, just, and you're working out. So your body's depleted. And then peak week, you start adding carbs back in and water loading. So your muscles kind of plump up.
oh yeah.
And
Okay.
then you kind of cut water right before, just a little bit. You just cut back a little bit of water right before show day. And then day of, your muscle, your skin's tight to your muscles are full. So it gives that appearance of, which is why you look so amazing on stage, because you've been manipulating things all week to feed your muscles.
Such a science.
Yes. And you also stop doing cardio so that the inflammation goes down in your legs.
Oh,
And then all these things that like, and it's crazy. So I like nerd out on the science now. I think it's like the funnest thing. But it's kind of like learning my body to different foods that digest well, because you don't want to bloat, you want the carbs to travel through, like all different things.
so okay, you know how you were saying that like being on camera on Warrior and everything and on stage helped you with like like being up on stage and all that and
Yeah.
posing and everything. And then you were just talking about how like coming out of the show and doing the like building phase again, that's hard and challenging. Are you at a point now where I guess I'm almost comparing it to an instructor teaching a new format. Like, I'll just tell you this right now. I'm teaching Warrior Rhythm Roots, our seniors class, the first one on Friday, the first one in a gym on Friday. And like, I'm nervous, it's my first time teaching it. I taught it virtually to in-house internally to our instructors last week. But like a new format, new gives you jitters. And then you get to the point where it's just like, you just have total confidence as an instructor teaching your format in the same old gym. So my question is, will you ever be, or are you already like, when does this become like, there's no nerves and there's no like, will it ever be like that? Is it like
Um,
that?
it's so weird. I feel like at nationals, I was like, oh, weird. I am not nervous, right? I'm not nervous. And then it's like right as you're lined up on stage, and you're like, there's all the lights, and you can see the people, and the announcer calls your number. And it's like, that's when it hits. And I get this adrenaline rush. And then it's like, okay, don't slip. Don't like, because you're in your heels. That's like the worst thing ever. I'm afraid I'm going to like misstep in my heels or something. And then you have to, so like, I am so a stage presence. So I'm looking at the judges. Meanwhile, I know that I have to get to this X that's in the middle, but I can't look down because that shows that you don't have confidence. So
Yes.
it's like, I got to look out. So it's just, but I don't know. Maybe I thrive under that. I think it takes a certain thrive. There are some girls that, there are people that just do it, that kind of shake a little bit, that don't, enjoy it. But I think it goes away. I always tell the girls I'm lined up with, I'm like, just rock it. Just go out there like you own the place, and that's all that matters.
I have a question because I always see you in the middle and you always win. Do they
Yeah.
always winner in the middle, or is it a
Yeah.
coincidence?
So no, they do. So in pre-judging, so your day starts out show day, usually early in the morning. The first half of the day is pre-judging. So you'll come out with all the girls in your height class. So in wellness open, they divide you by height. I'm usually like in C. So they divide you, and then you'll come out and they line you all up, and you will all do comparisons. So they have you do your front pose, and then they say side pose, and then you'll do your back pose, because they're all the divisions have different poses, and then they'll just line you up. Well, then they'll move you whoever they want to the middle usually, and so yeah, if you're in the middle, and then
No, it hasn't been announced yet, but at that point, do you know?
yeah,
Like, if you're
you
being
pretty much know. They always tell you like, yeah,
oh,
you pretty much know, because they're comparing everybody. So first and second usually split middle, and then they compare everybody else. to those two. And if it's big classes, they'll split them off in groups. So when I went for my pro card, I competed against 16 other girls in my class. And I was so scared because I'm like, there's so many of them here.
My gosh.
And
Wait,
everybody looks phenomenal because all these people have been first or second, and it was in Pittsburgh. So it's like all the best
oh
from
my.
around the United States. Well, actually, it's anyone because we had someone from Mexico come up.
So does your pro card ever expire or does it last forever and ever? Amen.
I have to compete within 2 years,
Okay.
and you just renew it every year. Yeah. So I'm currently active in the pro league. My pro debut will be in Miami the first weekend of June. It's the Miami Muscle Beach, so I will be competing there as my pro debut. And then I'm going to go to Tacoma, Washington for the Tangi. Tangi has an IFBB show, wellness pro show there. And then we're hoping that I can get an Olympia qualification at some point. It's going to happen.
It's gonna happen because you are
Yeah.
determined. Like you're that's how you are. So I can't wait to text you when it happens.
I know what I remember you texted me after I won, and I'm like, do you remember we were sitting on the bed eating after I had the stomach flu, and I texted and I'm like, can I please eat something? And then we ordered like Thai and cookies.
Died when you almost literally died because you were so sick. Oh, that was
That
so scary. I was like, Sarah was there, Sarah Wareham, and she's like, I'm like, hey, do we need to take her to the ER? You were so sick. Okay, carry on.
oh yeah, no, that's
Oh, remember, we had team dinner.
we team dinner, me and you.
In styrofoam with plastic forks, sitting in the bed in our pajamas. Team dinner was just us.
Oh, we made a great situation out of it. Yes, I took the fridge the entire time and turned our bathroom into a kitchen. And that's what you have to do on prep.
Yes.
And I didn't go to team dinners. I did cardio.
That's right.
I
So
did a
talk about that. Talk about I want to before we wrap, I want to know like how do you teach fitness classes while doing this and is there points where you can't?
yes. And this is what I'm just gonna say warriors like so great. Rhythm and strength, both the formats that I teach all the time. Strength is amazing when you're on prep because there was a point where I coached them through it. They knew I was on prep,
Yep.
and I said, you know the moves. We're not getting,
Yep.
it was a class that they knew, and I would show it without weights. Sometimes I'm like, imagine I have little weights in my hands, and they were fine. And rhythm, I can do without weights, and the stretch provided something that I so needed.
That makes sense to me. Okay.
And coach said I could count that as cardio. So if you wanted to track it and your coach said you could, then that's an option.
But you didn't.
I just did my extra cardio on top, but I used that. I didn't do a ton of cardio until the end. I also mentally really like my morning just check out where I just listen to podcasts and just go.
Okay, so let me recap. So if someone was interested in getting involved,
Yes.
they don't have to have aspirations of being a pro, but they
No,
can. They don't need to have imposter syndrome.
no.
They can do it, right?
Yeah. And there's anyone can. There are classes for masters 35, 40, 45, 50. I know women that can start competing in their 60s that went pro. Like any age, there's so many transformation stories. I know a lot of people that just do it because it's a bucket list. They want to do it because they want to see if they can try.
I know a lot of people similar with races. Like some people just need to have like a competition, like something to train for, something to look forward to, whether it's a 5K or a marathon. They need that thing on the calendar to be like looking forward to and to hold them accountable. And it's like so great and enriching in their lives. So I can see how this could be like that for someone too.
It really is. I mean, getting up in a sparkly bikini with your hair and makeup done is kind of fun. Funner. I mean, and you get, trophies and crowns and
Okay, so shelf the imposter syndrome. Here I am like coming up with the tips and I don't know.
I love it. I love it. No, but that's a true one because I even battle that now. And I wish someone told me about imposter syndrome before, like, now it's like more talked about it and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been suffering for so long thinking I'm the only one and not talking about it. Like,
People do. Okay, so like if someone is, let's say they're generally fit,
yeah,
because we're talking to fitness professionals for the most part on this podcast, unless they're just like hitching on to listen, that's fine too. You can come on in. But fitness pros, let's just assume they're generally fit. We're not saying they have to be like super lean or some any kind of like perfect shape to be an awesome instructor, but if they're generally fit, how long would it take them to be ready for a show?
So coaches usually prep you for 24 and 12 to 24 weeks. So depending on your physical, your muscle maturity, what your muscle looks like, how much weight you have, body fat to lose, would determine how long your prep would be. So usually 16 weeks is kind of standard. So you'd be in diet phase for 16 weeks. So if you already have a good muscle on you, 16 weeks. If you want to try out bikini, I see anyone who's like any of the fitness pros, like most women that would work in our field, could do a 12-week and jump into bikini and see if they like it. If you have legs, because you've always worked legs, there's some people that are just like built naturally. Either one, jump into it. Like 16-ish weeks, which is not terribly long. I feel like it goes by really quickly. That's another thing. It goes by in a blink of an eye.
Okay. So then they pick a coach,
Yes.
and then the coach help them find a posing coach, or do they also
Yeah.
have that goes together?
Yeah. Usually they do. I mean, you can work with anyone, but every coach I've had, either like they have a select few that they work with, that they know and they like their style, but just kind of doing your research. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, I love this. And I
Okay.
also
Yeah.
will be offering posing sessions soon. So that's coming.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes.
That's so cool. I love your little entrepreneurial heart. Yes,
Yes. I've been
absolutely.
helping the ladies already. So I'm like, why don't I do this? I love posing. So
Have you ever thought about coaching people? Like, I mean, coaching.
I have two people right now that I'm taking through prep. And if all goes well, I am taking lifestyle clients now, but if all goes well through prep, with these two ladies, they're going in, the end of September and the beginning of October, their shows, however they go. And then I will be able to start, yes, coaching people because I love this.
Gosh,
So
that's exciting. That's so awesome. Okay, so that's it. And then if depending on what they are teaching, they might be able to keep teaching if they can coach.
oh yes, you can definitely do that. So like what I would do is like in bodybuilding, you have like your set, like you're eating 6 meals a day. You kind of start learning your body. What I would do is on my I mean, if I'm teaching I only lift 5 days a week. So if I'm teaching 2 classes in a day, that's going to be my rest day from lifting because I have 2 classes. Now I have lifted before with 2 classes, but it's just not ideal. If you have to do it, you can. But I just work my week around my class schedule and also my food. So I'll know, okay, I don't really need carbs here. I'm going to save them for right before I go teach so that I have a little more energy. And it's just learning your energy slumps, and like how to fuel your body just to feel good. And I would just do that with a little extra carbs just to make sure I had like energy because your energy starts to go. But also teaching, once you start going, the energy from the group just,
Exactly.
but yeah, you can just coach through strength, just teach all strength through,
Exactly.
we're doing and
Okay, so did I leave anything out in terms of tips on
uh,
how to get started?
yeah, just commit to it. And then while you're in it, it's just checking the boxes,
Okay.
just checking the boxes. And bodybuilding is like, it's boring until the end and then it's really fun. I mean, it's just kind of like consistency. But I feel like if you're someone who thrives in that, it's like the best thing ever. You go to bed early. I love that. And it's just it's great.
Yeah, the discipline is attractive. Like the disciplined lifestyle is beautiful and emblematic of health.
And it's again with the grief, it's one thing that's probably like helped transform. I'm able to manage the grief along with everything else. It's been very transformative. And like the bad days, I go
Literally, it is an outlet. Like
yes.
it is an outlet. So we do need another confession. Do you have
Ooh.
related? Did you think of this?
Yes, I do. And this actually just happened recently. My name is Heather, and I have a confession that I ate an entire bottle of Trader Joe's dill pickle mustard on prep like maybe 9 weeks ago.
What?
It's so good. I also have a stash of like a dozen bottles of it in case it ever goes away.
Dill pickle mustard?
Yes, and there's nothing in it. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can eat this because I'm on prep. But then I ended up just putting so much of it on everything. I ate the entire bottle in a day.
Like actual, like it's actually mustard.
Yes. Oh yeah. Do you have Trader Joe's? Yes, you
Yes,
do.
yes.
Oh, I'm gonna show you a picture of this stuff. It is the dill pickle mustard. And it just has like a little bit of dill pickle in it.
And you were probably starving.
Yes. And so it tasted like the best thing ever.
You were allowed. Oh,
Those
oh.
are the ones I bought not so long ago.
They're little. They're little bottles. They look little. They're not little.
9 ounces.
They're,
9 ounces
you
of
could
mustard.
not even put one. You couldn't even travel with one in your carry-on.
But when I would travel, okay, little hack if you're on prep, the little containers that you put shampoo in, put your sauces in there. And then
Oh.
you can put your sauces on your food because I'd have to travel with my food in my little pack so then I could have my sauces.
Oh my God.
Multiples with that dill pickle in it to Pittsburgh. I mean, it may have been more like I know for
That's
sure.
an amazing confession. Never again, nor has anyone ever confessed to eating an entire bottle of mustard. That is like, that is amazing. That's
Uh,
amazing. I thought you were gonna be like, as you were building that up, I thought you were gonna be like a whole thing of like crumble cookie or like,
no. I
um,
mean, okay, post show,
yeah.
post show. No, I didn't eat an entire thing. After I won my pro card, there wasn't a lot of great food in Pittsburgh, so we came home and I went to Wolf Lodge and had an amazing steak,
Oh.
and then just kept.
Was
Then I
that
think
a thing when you're done with your show? Do you just like go eat a burger and French fries, or does that
yeah.
make
I mean, yes, I usually do, and I'll stop, so I kind of know like where my point is. Like I can eat a burger and fries and I'll be done, and like a couple bites of a cookie, and I just have to step away because if I eat more, I will be sick. And it's like not like I can't vomit because maybe that would make me feel better. It just sits in my stomach, and I know it feels bad. There's been a couple times since I got my this last off season where your hunger cues are really messed up and you just feel hungry all the time. So my free meals, I have to structure them a lot more now because I just would just keep eating things or a couple things here. And it's like, okay, you need to rein it back.
I know there is, or I've heard there's like a science to the unwinding
Yeah,
also.
the reverse. So you slowly increase calories, slowly decrease cardio.
Okay.
And your body is most primed to gain muscle in your reverse phase, but you have to do it slowly. So it takes 9 weeks to reverse. And I kind of messed up a couple weeks, didn't do it perfectly. So mine will go a couple weeks longer because you have to like slowly build it back.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So like there is room in this lifestyle for like,
Oh yeah. And off season, like I'm just really hard on myself because like I know I have to. I mean, you could, and especially in your off season, you can enjoy things. And like I get a untracked meal. Even in prep, I got one reasonable untracked meal a week
good.
up until my second shows. So I had one on Saturday and competed on that Saturday of my first show. And then I would get after I competed, I would get to eat. And you get pretty fed show day. So I was never, I mean, I guess the hunger is a different kind of hunger because it's like, I don't know, food is fuel at that point. I feel like you just kind of get used to it. I never like was super low. I know there's people that get really low,
Yeah.
but I think the reverse is the hardest part. I feel more hungrier in my reverse than I did in prep. And I don't know if it's because I can eat now and it's like willpower versus like
Yeah. Yeah, like
before.
there's a psychology to it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because it's like I'm not in prep. So
Mhm.
it's like it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not. So it's just normal things, normal things.
Oh
But
my
also there is a balance because then when you're in your off season, you need to go out and enjoy things that you normally couldn't with your family or have bites of things, or that's the time where you get to, I love to cook. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I love it. Best confession ever. Like you ate a bottle of mustard and it was 9 ounces.
in a day.
Okay. Okay. So, um, where can they find you on social? And if they're interested in, like you said, if they are interested in reaching out specifically for tips, be willing to help them.
Definitely. You can find me on Instagram at Heather_Gardner_IFBB Pro. Yay. And then you can also find me on Facebook, Heather Gardner. And yeah.
Yeah. Or you can just like go into my friends list and type in Heather.
Yes. I'm your blonde counterpart.
That's right. That's very, very, very true. And on that note, I will say, after just having podcasted you with you right now for almost 2 hours, because we did these 2 episodes back to back, I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Everyone is. Everyone that I know who knows you speaks so highly of you. Your name is spoken of well behind your back. And like that's just, I mean, of course the Warriors are that kind of people anyway, but it's it's really cool. Again, I know these episodes didn't go together like thematically, but in a way they actually I didn't anticipate it, but they kind of did because I do think this piece is it's just a part of your grief. It's a part of your healing. It's a part of all of it. And I think everyone is just so proud of you and your kids and what you're doing. And so I don't know. I speak for our whole community when I say that we love you.
Thank you. We love you and we miss you guys and yes, I am so thankful for Warrior family and everybody.
But when you and your kids stop flying all around winning awards, come back to fly around the country with me again, please. Okay.
I will do. Will do.
All right. I love you so much. Okay. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.